Imagine a place where the fog doesn't just hide the landscape, it literally swallows it whole. Today, we're diving into an explainer of The Gotham Reaper's Bride, and let me tell you, this story completely redefines the psychological thriller. It's not just your standard tale about a murderer. No, it's this cinematic, almost suffocating descent into isolation, trauma, and that terrifying gray area between being protected and being held captive. The atmosphere here is so incredibly thick you can practically feel the damp stone against your skin and taste the salt in the air. So let's step into the dark, shall we? A house keeps nothing. A house is what keeps. To even get to the setting of our story, this place called Grimhaven, you have to pass through a geological nightmare known as the Throat. It's this narrow, whetstone passage where the light just dies. And once you finally emerge from it, you're in Grimhaven. It's a coastal town, hunched down in a bowl of gray stone, relentlessly beaten by the sea and trapped beneath an oppressive, heavy fog. It's a town that constantly feels like it's watching you. And hovering above it all, right on the edge of a jagged cliff, sits Blackthorn Manor. Section 1. Welcome to Grimhaven. Section 2. The White Rose Murders. Now, our main character, Seraphine Voss, basically surrendered her freedom to marry a total stranger, Dorian Blackthorn. By entering this isolated town through the fog, she makes the ultimate Gothic bargain, right? Trading the open world just for a chance at survival. But she very quickly realizes that Grimhaven is choking on a collective secret. There's this terrifying silence hanging over the coastal marshes. It's a living nightmare, hiding a methodical, very human evil known only in whispers as the Gotham Reaper. Over the course of 15 years, 9 different women have been taken. Found in the marshes, found by the docks, found in the old graveyard. It's this sharp, horrific toll that has literally conditioned the entire town to just look away. Because every time that fog rolls in, they know the Reaper might be walking right among them. 9 white roses. Because you see, the victims aren't just killed, they are arranged, posed supine with this sickening geometric perfection, hands gently folded and left with fresh, flawlessly trimmed white roses. It takes a brutal act of murder and twists it into this highly curated, macabre artistic composition. Someone out there in the dark is taking their sweet time to create a masterpiece. So who is the Gotham Reaper? Well, the terrified suspicion of the entire town points squarely at the cliff, at Blackthorn Manor, and specifically at Dorian Blackthorn. I mean, even his previous wife, Alara, was one of the victims. Dorian is this brooding, emotionally distant figure who is either unable or entirely unwilling to account for his whereabouts on the nights these women are murdered. Oh, and get this, he also maintains an obsessive, perfectly pruned garden of white roses right on the manor grounds. Not exactly helping his case, is it? And this leaves Seraphina completely isolated, agonizing over a massive psychological split. Is Dorian her husband, or is he actually her captor? Because shortly after she arrives, Dorian starts locking the doors. He places heavy iron latches on her windows. He even brings in a bodyguard to track her every single movement. He's building a fortress around her. But, when the man holding the keys to that fortress is the town's prime suspect for a string of gruesome serial murders, well, that fortress suddenly feels a whole lot like a cage. She still didn't realize what the house was hiding. Section 3. The Cage Refines. Trapped in the massive, deafening silence of Blackthorn Manor, and with Dorian flat-out refusing to answer any of her questions, the cage really starts to tighten. The heavy iron locks on her door click shut every single night, supposedly to keep the monster out. But the evidence Seraphina starts uncovering, it is agonizing. First, she wakes up in her quadruple-bolted bedroom to find a fresh, damp white rose resting perfectly on her pillow. Just imagine that panic. Next, she manages to break into Dorian's locked desk and finds newspaper clippings of the murders, complete with clinical, deeply disturbing annotations written in his handwriting. And then, the ultimate, terrifying violation. She finds fresh scratches around a hidden peephole behind a painting in her bedroom. Someone is inside the walls. Someone is literally watching her sleep. What she discovers next turns fear into obsession. Section 4. The True Reaper Revealed. Seraphina decides she is done waiting around to be a victim. Guided by a hidden journal left behind by Dorian's dead wife, Alara, she ventures deep into the dark, dripping stone tunnels that are carved directly into the cliff bedrock beneath the manor. It's the absolute climax of the worst storm this generation has ever seen. The sea is just hammering the cliffs outside, and deep in this subterranean blackness, she finds a ritual chamber, a stone bench, a bundle of fresh white roses. The truth behind the white roses is far darker than anyone imagined. The monster hiding in the dark? It isn't Dorian. It's actually Dr. Cornelius Ashford, the trusted, warm, supposedly immaculate town physician. Ashford has been harboring this deranged, decades-long obsession with Constance Blackthorn, Dorian's mother, who died in childbirth 40 years ago. So Ashford isn't just killing these women. He thinks he's performing a sacrament, a ritual he calls completion. He hunts down women who look like Constance, uses her favorite flowers, and actually believes that by sacrificing enough of these surrogates, he'll free her soul from purgatory and bring her back to him. The sheer scale of Ashford's patience is horrifying when you lay it out. 40 years ago, Constance dies. 20 years ago, Ashford starts using these secret tunnels he's mapped out to stalk and pose as victims. 18 months ago, he murders Alara Blackthorn because she got a little too close to the truth. And now, present day, he has targeted Seraphina. He's the one creeping through the walls. He's the one leaving roses on her pillow. He even forged those newspaper clippings just to destroy Seraphina's trust in her husband. It is an inescapable trap, and she unknowingly walked right into it. But this is where everything changes. Section 5. What blooms in darkness? Down in that ritual chamber, Ashford fully expects Seraphina to just be another passive vessel. But instead, she refuses. She fights back, killing Ashford in this brutal, deeply empowering act of self-defense. But the true, staggering fallout actually comes right after that, because Seraphina realizes a devastating truth. Dorian had known for 18 months. He deliberately played the villain, let the whole town hate him, and built that suffocating cage of locks strictly to protect her from Ashford's obsession without tipping the doctor off. So when Detective Rawlings finally arrives, Seraphina and Dorian carefully craft their testimony. They tell the truth about Ashford, sure, but they completely bury Dorian's 18-month silence. Seraphina makes the active choice to protect his complicity, lying to the detective and sealing their dark bond forever. Which leaves us grappling with a truly haunting question. Is that love, or is that death wearing a better disguise? The romance that blooms in the aftermath of this nightmare is twisted. It's deeply possessive, and it's built entirely on a foundation of shared trauma and buried secrets. This is so beautifully symbolized right at the end of the story, when we see Seraphina kneeling in the dirt of the ruined white rose garden, planting new, stubborn life right where a deadly obsession once grew. So I'll leave you with this final thought to take away from our explainer today. What is the price of survival in the dark? Because yes, Seraphina survived, but she did it by becoming complicit in the exact same silence that plagues Grimhaven. She accepted the Gothic bargain. She walked into the pitch black, and she came back with dirt under her nails. It's a masterful, completely morally ambiguous ending that really leaves you wondering, when you build a relationship on shared darkness, who is really the captive and who is the keeper?